Well, it's finally warm enough that I can get outside and do some filming. Unfortunately, there's somebody shooting guns in the distance, so you're probably going to hear some pops every once in a while. But I just wanted to do this video to talk about what I expect to encounter on this trip as far as physically and mentally, and some of the dangers that are out there when you're touring across the country on a bicycle. Let's talk about physically. First off, physically, when you're riding for 12 to 14 or even more hours a day, and you're sitting on that bicycle seat all day, you're going to have complications in the rear department, depending on the level of comfort you have in your seat, combined with the padding in your shorts. So that's something you have to plan ahead for. I'm buying like gel inserts and stuff like that, inner liners for my shorts for bicycling. Any of you bicyclists out there, you'll know what I'm talking about with the gel shorts. And then the other thing is making sure you have a good seat to match with that. Otherwise, you're just gonna have friction and all kinds of issues, and possibly lose the ability to have kids someday. So that's something you definitely want to take into concern when you're planning for a trip like this. I don't know if you can hear, but yeah, they're shooting constantly in the distance here. Let's see, what else? Physically, some of the other dangers you have to worry about is when you get out there riding, you're going to be on the road, you're going to be on the side of the road all day. So you're constantly going to be under threat of getting hit by a car or hitting another vehicle or pedestrian. So that's something else you have to watch out for. It can be a dampener on the trip. You don't want to, worry about that the entire time you're out there. But you do want to be aware that, you're going to be on the side of a road, and naturally you're going to have to deal with traffic. So that's something you do want to be prepared for. Another thing would be, potholes, broken glass on the side of the road, stuff like that. You want to watch out for any kind of obstacle you're going to come across. And then other people, and I'm not just talking about running into people, I'm talking about if it's late at night and you're out there on the road, there's some mean people out there that you're going to come across that generally just like to mess with cyclists. Or it could be just late at night and you're posted up somewhere like I was in Baltimore, sitting behind a gas station in the middle of the night, and you may be approached by some people, and they may want money or something. Luckily I didn't actually get approached by anyone, but there's that chance of somebody wanting to mug you or rob you or something worse than that. So you just want to be prepared for those situations, and you want to try not to put yourself in those situations if you can avoid it. Along with that, there's just the other physical aspects of falling off your bicycle. When you're riding that long, the sun's out, you may become weak, tired, dizzy just from being out there riding so long. So you want to make sure that you stay hydrated. You want to make sure you're eating plenty of food, not just junk food or something you pick up at a gas station, but you want to make sure you're eating the appropriate things, getting your proteins and your vitamins. And I don't know, I'm not some kind of health expert. I definitely am not one to be talking about what's healthy to eat, since my diet consists of Mountain Dew and pizza rolls. But yeah, you definitely want to do some research and plan ahead for stuff like that. And when it comes to mentally preparing, you got to remember, when you're riding like this, doing some kind of touring on a bicycle, imagine yourself like standing on the edge of a waterfall. It's a lot like that. You constantly are under the physical force of the water pushing against you. But if you were to just sit down or give up and lay down and let yourself float, you're going to go over the edge of that waterfall. So you want to make sure that you have the right mentality to be able to ride or stand all day, every day, for however long your journey takes. Otherwise, you're going to end up falling off, getting hurt, crashing into somebody, getting somebody else hurt. So those are things you just want to plan ahead for. Mentally, I don't know how to, tell somebody else to prepare for that, because that really comes down to the individual. That's something that everybody has to look inside themselves to figure out on their own. And physically, you don't have to be in the best shape to ride. You just have to be in good enough shape that you can ride, and then you'll build the conditioning along the way. You probably want to take a few months ahead of the trip and start working your way up, trying to get more and more miles per day until you're at like a comfortable 70 or 80 miles in a day of riding. I'm not talking about when you do the trip, but beforehand. You want to be able to work yourself up. Start with like, 10 miles a day, then 20 miles a day, and keep pushing yourself to go farther and farther until you reach, a comfortable 80 miles in one day. For me, I plan on trying to average 100 miles a day on my bicycle. I know from the last 2 years training that 100 miles a day, that's nowhere near impossible for me. I can definitely do that. So I'm hoping that'll be a good average, putting my trip to be about 32 days. That would be the sweet number, but I expect other kind of delays, and maybe I will need a few days here and there on the trip. Maybe every 5 or 10 days of riding, I may actually have to stop riding for a day or two just to let my legs recover and stuff like that. So those are things you do have to prepare for, but it's not a factor that's really going to stop you from doing the trip overall. So with that in mind, just if you plan on doing some kind of trip like this, just make sure you do like me and take some time, maybe take a year or two ahead and actually prepare for it by training yourself, doing shorter rides to figure out if it's something you really want to continue with, or if it's something you even physically and mentally feel like you can do. I'm going to post some more videos up here hopefully soon. Weather is getting better. It's pretty overcast today, but in the coming days it's supposed to warm up, and hopefully I'll get out in some other locations, get my bike out finally, and yeah, really get this season kicked off here.